My name is Katie Clark, and today I'm doing my informative speech on the characteristics of autism. And this is my audience. Okay. Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder that is characterized by difficulty in social interactions and communications and by repetitive patterns of behavior and thoughts. Approximately 1 in 59 children are diagnosed with autism in 2018. I have known a couple people in my lifetime that were diagnosed with autism, which is why I found this disorder very interesting, and I was curious to research some characteristics of autism that are very common and noticeable. So today I want to share with you 3 characteristics of autism, and they are delayed or no speech, easily upset and angered, or extreme anxiety and worry. So let's begin with the first characteristic of autism. The first characteristic of autism is for people to have delayed or no speech at all. Problems with speech and language are one of the most defining characteristics of autism. According to Dr. Barry Gordon of the Department of Neurology in Maryland, many individuals with autism have difficulty understanding what sounds mean and matching them to their words or thoughts. Dr. Barry Gordon and other professors of the Johns Hopkins Medical Institution did a study and found that autistic children and adults have difficulty moving their lips and their tongues while they breathe. Therefore, visual illustrations are a good way to access their minds and give them a way to express themselves. The ability of autistic people to communicate depends on their social development. According to the National Institute of Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, some may have very limited speaking skills, while others may be able to talk about certain subjects in great detail. Notice that these hardships have greatly affected autistic people's ability to interact with others, and they especially have difficulty interacting with people their own age. Now that we've seen the first characteristic of autism, let's consider the second characteristic. The second characteristic of people diagnosed with autism is that they are very easy to anger and upset. When people with autism become very angry, they often act out and behave in a way that shocks people around them. Psychologist Robert Nassif says that when this happens, they may be coping with some emotions but cannot verbalize them in any other way. For example, a girl that I used to know with autism would get very overly upset about really simple things, and she would easily draw people's attention towards her. The majority of autistic kids or adults have difficulty regulating their emotions and maintaining a calm state. Children with this kind of challenging behavior often causes their family the most stress. According to the Raising Children Network, they suggest that the first step in managing this behavior is spotting the things that trigger it. All people can behave in a challenging way at times, but ones with autism are much more likely to do so. Now that we've seen the second characteristic of autism, let's consider the third characteristic. The third characteristic of kids or people that are diagnosed with autism is to have extreme anxiety or worry. Extreme anxiety is something I have noticed with the people I know who have autism. For instance, I grew up with a girl that went to church with me, and every time her parents would leave her in a room, she would have extreme anxiety whenever they would leave without her. But according to the researchers from the University of Amsterdam, about 40% of children with autism have some type of anxiety disorder. Some people with autism may not just have extreme anxiety, but also extreme worry. Because those with autism likely have structural or functional changes that processes their emotions, feelings like worriness and anxiety can occur. However, the good news is that autistic people can overcome these feelings by physical activities and sleep. So there are many characteristics of autism, but a few that are more larger and recognizable are delayed or no speech, easily upset and angered, and extreme anxiety and worry. Autism is a disorder that can seriously harm the development of children and adults, and I found it very interesting to learn some characteristics of this disorder.